What's going on, everyone? It's awesome of you to join me for another video. Today I'm on the trail and I want to show you an item that I purchased a little while back, something I'm just starting to get into, and that's hammock camping. Hammock camping, in my experience, and that's a very small amount of experience, has the potential to save you a lot of frustration. And I'll tell you why here in a minute. But first, let's find some good trees. And we're looking for trees that are 10, 12 feet apart. And you can go longer if you need to. They have extension straps where you can use paracord, but I'm looking for about 10 to 12 feet apart, something fairly easy today that I can set this Hummingbird hammock up on, and we can talk about why I think hammock camping is going to be probably my preferred way of doing backcountry camping in the future. Right here, I got two wonderful trees. I have this one, and it's about 1, 2, 3. This one here, and it's about 12 feet apart. I think that's perfect as far as setting a hammock up on, and they're nice, solid trees. So let's go ahead and dig into the pack and take this gear out. I'm using my new Osprey bag, and I'm liking this bag because it's so lightweight, has a nice arch in the back. And it just, for hikes, 1-2 day hikes, I think it's perfect. Not too heavy, and lots of nice organization. Brought a little extra paracord because setting up a hammock sometimes can be a little tricky. It is to get used to it, So just to be safe. And here's my hammock, my tarp, and that stuff. And my Hummingbird Hammock Underquilt. So this is just a REI co-op bag. And what I've done is I've just, put all my hammock stuff in here to keep it organized. And so the first part of the hammock is the tree straps. And Hummingbird has some pretty cool tree straps. And I like them because they're so small and lightweight. The problem I have with this is I've been trying to get extensions from Hummingbird for, oh my gosh, months and months. And they've been back ordered. Same old COVID stuff. Everything's back ordered right now. But that's our tree strap. And I don't think we're gonna have any problem here today. So let's go ahead and get this set up. So the first couple of times I set a hammock up, it's definitely not as easy as you would think it would be. So don't, grab your hammock gear and then just go out in the woods thinking it's not going to be any problem. You need to set it up a couple of times to make sure you got it down pat. But it starts with the tree strap, and these come in different kinds. I like Hummingbirds, like I said, because it's lightweight. The strap has two ends. You have this end here, which is your tree end, and then you have this end with a whoopee sling. A whoopee sling is where, if you look real close, this string goes inside of this string. Kind of like those old game things where you put your fingers in it and pull, and when you pulled it, the tension constricted so that you couldn't get your fingers out. Kind of the same thing. And so what happens is this, you see here, see that? And so with no tension, you can easily guide it through there and adjust your, the length that you need. To start out, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this side around the tree. And I'm looking for about 6 feet tall. So that's about my height. And now I'm going to take this end and throw it through this little hoop here at the very end. Now, this is a preference thing, but I like the end where my head is to be a little higher than where my feet is, but I can do that after I get it set up. So in the green bag, I have Hummingbird Hammock's 350-pound single. I think it's the long version hammock. So let's go ahead and take that out. Now what I like about sleeping bags or any product like this is the bag is attached to the hammock, so you don't lose it, you don't have to keep track of it. Now, one of the cool things about Hummingbird is you don't need carabiners. because they have their own built-in fastening device. And I'll show you what I mean here in a second. So with a lot of traditional hammocks, you would take this and the loop on your hammock and carabine them together. Put a carabiner right there, and that's what connects the two. The cool thing is you don't have to carry the carabiners to keep track of them, or whatever. You just take this, the part of the hammock, it comes with it already through this loop. You take it out, wrap it around the tree strap, and then with the loop that's already tied into this on the end of the hammock, you just stick it through there. If I can get it to do it. A little tight. There we go. And so now we have a solid connection. And we'll do the same thing on this end. So you see the problem with that, right? My straps are too long. I can't, put enough tension on this to get me about a 30-degree angle on this line. So picking your trees is very important. I was aiming for about 12 feet, 10 to 12 feet, and that's too short. And that's part of the things it's part of some of the stuff you learn when you first start setting up hammocks, is this kind of stuff when you're out and you're tired on the trail and all you want to do is go to sleep. You don't want to battle this stuff. You want to already have that stuff down. So let's find some trees that'll actually work for this setup. There we go. If you're like me, how in the world are you going to figure out a 30-degree angle when you're out in the woods? Well, I don't want to carry any extra tools on my back. I just need the necessities. It's pretty simple, actually. If you take your finger and you make it like a gun and you hold it up there like that, when the strap touches the tip of your finger and the top of your thumb, you got the right angle. If it's up here, see, the thumb is actually in it. If it's down here, the thumb doesn't touch. So you adjust it until you get just the right angle. Right about there is where we need to be. Now, I don't have anything that I can actually tighten down here. It's also a good time to think about which end you want your head to be on, because your head, you may want it a little tighter to the tree than your foot if you like your head higher than I do. And I do. So I'm gonna adjust this whoopee string just a little bit. And if you look real close, you can see the string that goes inside of the other string. And so with no tension, you just kind of gently pull it through there. Just like that. See how that works? Okay, so I'm gonna make this the end of my head, but I don't have that 30-degree angle. So now let's adjust the foot strap, this end down here where my feet are gonna be, so that it gives me that 30-degree angle. And I just do that by pulling on the whoopee string. Now the moment of truth with any hammock. That first little jolt there is always a little alarming. Trust your hammock, guys. That's, this is what they're made for. And as long as you get your straps even close to right, you're gonna be just fine. I do remember the first couple of times I laid in a hammock though, when you sit down, you're like, I'm about to fall and hurt myself. But these things are made very tough. They're not thick, so you gotta make sure you don't have any sharp things in your pockets. But they're tough. They can definitely hold you as long as you bought the one rated for your weight. There's bugs around. Definitely need to put the bug screen on tonight, because I'm not trying to get bit up with mosquitoes. And doing my research on YouTube, when I first bought this, I was trying to figure out, all the little ins and outs and the details. I couldn't find a video that really showed the whole setup, the tarp, the hammock, the bug screen, and the underquilt. So that's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna make sure you know how to set up the whole thing. And there's, most other brands are fairly similar. So if you know how to do this, you should be able to, relay it to apply it to whatever gear you have or the gear you may be interested in purchasing. And so the bug screen is in the black bag. And again, the bag is attached to the bug screen, so it makes it very, very nice. But when I first took this out, I'm like, well, how in the world does this go on that? Well, it doesn't. We got to put a ridge line up, and then you'll see it all come together. They give you some line with the hammock, but I just prefer to use my own paracord, and I keep it long. That way I always have some extra. And first thing you do is you start above the hammock strap and leave yourself about a foot or so of tail, and you're going to go under. Now what we're going to do is just simply go inside and inside again. And then we're going to come to the outside and stick it through a loop. And there we go. We have a taut line hitch that we can adjust tension on. And let's go ahead and feed our bug screen through it. Bug screen has these little hoops on the top. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to feed both the hammock through the bug screen as well as the paracord through these hoops. Before we tie the paracord to the other tree, we need to feed the hammock through the bug protector as well. We want to be inside of it. And so it has these loops right there, these little opening holes here that is going to allow us to feed the hammock through it. Now to do that, we got to take down one end of the hammock. Not a big deal, even if you're using with carabiners, you know, it's very simple. In fact, it might be a little trickier that way. I think I just haven't gotten quite used to it yet. And so now we're just going to feed the hammock through the bug screen. Bug screens have a zipper on them, so whatever way you want your zipper on, now's the time to kind of figure that out. Stick your hand through there and just feed it through. Same thing with the other side of the bug screen. And there we go. Now we'll reattach it to the tree. Okay, so you see what happened, right? We're getting more weight on the hammock, and we're gonna add more with the underquilt. So it's important that we readjust our straps, and whatever system you have, it's really important to make sure your straps are easily adjustable. And you can do that with a taut line hitch like we did with the paracord or devices like this. Just make sure whatever you have is easily adjustable. So now you wanna make sure your paracord's on top and that things aren't twisted up. And now we can take our paracord to the other tree. And pull it tight. And we're going to do the same hitch down here. So the next step is the underquilt, and it's basically like a sleeping bag. It kind of insulates the area under the hammock. This hammock's very thin material, and so when you're in a hammock, you have all of that air underneath of you. If it's breezy or windy or cold, it's going to make it very drafty on your underside when you're laying in the hammock. So I use an underquilt pretty much all year long, unless I'm just doing like a one-nighter, or something simple where I know the temperature is going to be warm and humid. Other than that, I'm using my underquilt just on the safe side. Until you get to the underquilt, the bags stay attached. This one, I don't know why they didn't do it. They should have. Comes off, so you got to keep track of that. So you can see it's like a sleeping bag. It just doesn't zip closed. It has these drawstrings, and this hangs under the hammock. So this is the part that can get a little confusing. If you look at the end of the underquilt, you have this loop on the top, and it connects the top ridges of the underquilt. So this is the complicated, or somewhat complicated part. This is a 30-degree quilt. So we're gonna put the gray side down, because that's designed to be down. We're gonna feed it up to the opening here of the bug net so we can kind of see what's going on. Okay, so there it is. We have this loop, we have this loop, and the third loop is here. Two of them have these, devices to tighten down on the string. The other one is just one, and it loops around and has this little cord fastening device. So we're gonna take the long one, which runs the whole length of the underquilt, and we're gonna do something very simple. Grab the middle of it. I'm gonna create a little bit of a loop and then just tie a knot, just like that, okay? And then we're gonna fasten this to this. And it doesn't look right until you get it set up, but stick with me. Shove it out this end of the bug net, so you can see what's going. I'm gonna go under there. Now I'm going to push the quilt back in. Pull the bug nut up to the end of where this fastens. And the bug nut has a little fastening device. So when I tighten this down over all of this, it's going to tighten right up and it's not going to move. And there we go. That secures it in place. Same thing down here. Tuck everything inside. Pull the end of the bug screen up to make sure everything is nice and tight and in place. And so we need to check our 30 degrees. Pretty close. This one's a little high. We're gonna let some out. And those two other quilts simply allow you to pull the quilt up tight. To keep the quilt from sliding down towards the middle, they have these fastening devices. And so you just take these up to where you want them. And then you slide the cord inside the locking device and it locks it in place. Same thing on the other side. And the tarp stays attached to the bag as well. And you can see on the top of the tarp where the ridge line is designed to go. So you just string it over the ridge line. And so with this string that comes with it, it's non-load bearing. So you can't put any load on this if you're trying to multi-use this or multi-purpose this. Go around the tree. And I'm just gonna secure it out with an overhand knot just for a second. And so coming back away from the tree, now we're gonna take the end that goes around the tree. We're gonna go through this hole and we're just gonna simply lock it down around that. And that'll hold it. Go through the hole. Pull it tight. Here's where we get our tension. And wrap it around. Now it has all kinds of different tie out places. So you tie it out, stake it to the ground. And so there you go. You can stake it down all kinds of different ways. You have some extra loops in case you want to, get a little more space in there. You can undo the front two parts of the tarp and either stake it out on trekking poles or just throw it over the back. And it's time to relax and try it out. All kinds of different ways to lay in a hammock. You can lay in it the traditional way. You can kind of just sit in it, or you can kind of lay at it diagonal. That'll give you a little more space. Actually, my head's supposed to be down here. It's a nice hammock, guys. I enjoy it. It takes a little bit to set up. It's not an Insta tent, but it's a nice setup, very nice setup, lightweight for a hiker and a backpacker. It keeps everything clean. The main point with a hammock. I've had so many trips recently where my camping gear, my tent and everything just got completely dirty. It's not gonna be a problem with a hammock. You're off the ground, you have shelter, and you can put stuff underneath of you. It's so much nicer. Trick is to make sure your tarp extends past your hammock. Make sure your tension is correct, and then have fun. Find 2 trees that work, and whether it's on a stream, just in the woods like I am, or whatever. Thanks for tuning into the video, guys. I really appreciate your time. I really appreciate you being interested in this thing, because I know it fascinates me. And to watch you other guys' content out there about this stuff, it's just an inspiration. I just hope to inspire others just like that. So I hope you guys have an awesome week, and I'll see you on the next video.